asking some different things you can do. I'm wondering if panelists have ideas for the average audience member, not just as parents, but as community members who clearly care, they wouldn't be here tonight. What can they be doing? Are there tangible things they can be doing to help improve this issue in our community?
If I may, I did put down some things that we can do. Like I said, send positive images to our kids and adults. Be intentional about making hope a reality. Getting connected to the people in our community, using positive ways to promote belongingness. One of the worst things you can do to a person in poverty is to talk down to them, as opposed to talk to them to understand why they're where they are and what have they done to try to correct it. One of the things that's very important is if you never connect, then all the resources you pour into this person actually goes to naught. But the minute they can trust you, and I like Stephen Covey has a book called The Speed of Trust, the minute trust is instituted in this encounter, this relationship, you'd be surprised what a child or an adult will do for you. And when you help them, they're able to help somebody else. You don't have to save everybody. All you got to do is save one person that can go out and champion what you just did. So there's no proverb says you feed a person today, if you give them a fish today, you feed them today, but if you teach them how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. Sure. So if we use these positive interactions among ourselves and show them stuff like being respectful, be self-respecting, being respectful of others, having mutual respect in public. This is what produces trust, and what it does, it backs up your actions and your words. Having and teaching healthy self-esteem. You know, sometimes we can say something to a person and they're already on the verge of hopelessness, but when we just carelessly use words like "you don't care," how do you know whether they care? How do you know if they know how to read? I mean, how many people do you know have signed contracts and they really didn't understand what they were signing? So sometimes we need to have a way of teaching healthy self-esteem. Being involved in something good can help children and adults be competent and be competent enough to make decisions about what's best for them. Growing into the fifth discipline, which is a lifelong commitment to learning. If you stop learning, you stop leading. We expect parents to lead their children, so they have to be confident enough that they can lead them in spite of what they come out of. Having healthy relationships like families and marriages that make children feel safe and secure socially, emotionally, and intellectually. It also makes them feel secure physically. So when we do this, when we create events that are family safe and family friendly, let's make sure they're very intentional, that we're keeping our young people that may come to these events in mind when we set them up. Sometimes we're so busy having a great time ourselves that we lose track of the fact that our kids are generations behind us. But if we don't invest what we can in them today, we're going to lose them at a faster rate, and tomorrow we're going to look for help, and there will be some system sitting there waiting for you.
I have a suggestion, and it's indirect for criminal law delinquency, but one of the most vulnerable populations of kids we have are foster kids.
Yes, the most vulnerable.
Kids who are in foster care, particularly because of abuse or neglect, the delinquency rate for those kids is through the roof. A couple of things you could think about doing. One, which is either one of these is a real commitment. One is become a foster parent. We don't have enough foster parents. We've got too many kids, especially teenagers, in group homes, which may do a fine job, but it's not the same thing as living with a family. The other is think about becoming a volunteer for the Guardian Ad Litem program. The Guardian Ad Litem program, which represents kids in court in dependency cases, that's abuse and neglect cases, relies on volunteers to do a great deal of the work. Their paid staff is not nearly big enough, not intended to be, to have a Guardian Ad Litem for each child. And they don't have enough volunteer guardians to have a Guardian Ad Litem for each child. Now that's a one-on-one kind of opportunity. Will it have a direct effect on anything having to do with juvenile justice? No. But it may have a direct effect on that child.
Do you have a take stock program?
Oh, yes, ma'am. And I need all the volunteers I can get.
We have a Take Stock program in Okaloosa as well, and one of the most important things you can do, and I believe in tackling problems one child at a time, one individual at a time, because sometimes we look at the problem as a whole and it becomes overwhelming to us and we just go, whoa, we can't fix this. But just as the chief said, you have a sphere of influence. And around you, there are people you can impact. There are children you can impact. And in our mentoring program, in our Take Stock program, we are the one county, we have a 1-to-1 ratio. We have a mentor for every child that is in our district. These children can come in, we identify these kids, they earn full scholarships when they graduate. It is a phenomenal program, but we always need mentors. One thing that I have on my desk that I share often, if you see a kid, I don't care who he is, and you just look at him and you say, hey, this kid just needs somebody to give him a pat on the back or a little encouragement, because kids are not going to care until they know somebody else cares. And if you show them that care and love, I know it sounds sappy to a lot of folks, but it isn't to me, because I've seen it work in too many children's lives. If you care about them and you want to help, find some kid in your church, in your community, somewhere that you can encourage and help. Even if it's a kind word, pat on the back, the foster thing that the judge talked about. My goodness, we have so many foster kids in our schools, and they're just, your heart breaks for those kids, because so many of them know nobody really cares about them. They'll tell you, nobody cares about me. And that's a sad thing to hear coming from a 10-year-old.